Every year we remind our listeners, first of all, I'm so pleased to be with Dr. Sam Selva at Westport Animal Hospital. Every year we warn listeners about some of the hazards in the household at the holidays for their kids, but sometimes we may not think about our four-legged family members. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and I think you'd like to encourage some of our listeners to avoid the temptation, perhaps, to say, feed them from the table. Yes. Dr. Sam?
Well, first, let me just say happy holidays, happy and safe holidays to all your listeners, John. So Thanksgiving, one of the things that I find is what we call dietary indiscretion. So, for example, if I give you an example with turkey. Now, usually a small portion of turkey should not be an issue for a dog, let's say. But what can happen is one person can give a small portion to the pet, unbeknownst to other people that person is given a small portion, another person will give a small portion, and then another person will give a small portion. So by the end of the evening, the pet has consumed quite a bit of turkey. And so that can lead to issues relating to vomiting, diarrhea, things like that. So just be aware who's giving the portion of turkey and let everybody know that they've got, their little treat of turkey, let's say.
So what might sound like a treat could become, a real issue for pets.
Exactly. Because they're not used to eating turkey per se. And then with all the seasoning that's on the turkey, the seasoning in itself can cause issues as well. So just be aware, and if you give them a treat, make it small and make it one little treat, basically.
As someone who has to run here a lot and make use of your services for situations just like this, what is a more appropriate treat, perhaps, for a dog or for a cat?
Well, if you have your usual treats for them, I would suggest use that, even if you give them one or two more than they usually get, instead of introducing something new, like turkey, for example. So that would be my suggestion. I know there's a temptation to say, okay, we're all having turkey, so let's include everyone, including our four-legged friends, but sometimes that can cause issues.
With Thanksgiving, we start to decorate the house.
Yes.
It looks wonderful, looks beautiful, but could, for our pets, create issues. Talk to us. My wife's cousins had a cat they called Tinsel Butt. That's not funny, though, if you think about it. That means that cat ingested this tinsel, which could become a problem. Talk to us about the dangers that ornaments and other decorative items around the house over the holidays present.
Okay, obviously things like tinsel, shiny, cats love to go and play with it. They'll also maybe break it apart and then ingest the pieces, and that's what causes the issues. It can get entwined within the gastrointestinal tract, cause obstructions. So if you're using tinsel, be it anywhere, make sure it's out of reach. If you're decorating a tree, for example, make sure that it's a little bit higher up so they can't just go and play with it and pull it down. Now, a lot of the issues occur maybe after people have gone to bed. They don't realize that, during the day, their cat may not go and play with the baubles or go and play with the tinsel. But once everything's quiet, they'll go and they will start knocking the baubles down, pulling the tinsel down. So when decorating, just be aware. The other thing with trees relating to Christmas is power cords. So what I would suggest is if you can put a rug over the main part of the power cord, or even use tape to cover the power cord. If you use tape, there's things that you can buy, sprays like bitter apple spray, and you can spray that tape or the power cord so that even if they mouth it, just that taste, they'll let it go, basically.
Have you, I don't even want to ask, but have you seen incidents where people did not heed these warnings and the results were not so good?
Yes. Especially, let's say, with kittens and puppies, if there's anything like the power cord out, and they'll tend to be like babies, they'll mouth everything, and so they can go and they can chew that cord, and then that can cause burns and, electrocution, at times. So just be aware in terms of, there's different things that, for example, even with a baby, they may not go and bite the cord, but with puppies and kittens, yes, they'll tend to mouth it, they'll tend to bite it.
We're speaking with Dr. Sam Selva, Westport Animal Hospital. Hopefully folks won't need to use your services, but if they do, you're here. And we talked a little bit about boarding. This is another service you provide here at Westport Animal Hospital. And when is it time to consider boarding? A lot of people are coming over. People are bringing children. People are maybe even bringing other pets during the holidays. When is it time to say, okay, the girls, the pups would be better off being boarded?
I think it depends, obviously, when, the majority of people are going to be within the household. And what would be better is maybe 2 to 3 days before that everybody arrives, because there's certain things that we may not consider as stressful, but for pets, yes, it's a change in the routine. All of a sudden, there are new people within the house. The noise level goes up, so things like that, and that can create stressful situations for pets, which we may not consider to be stressful. So maybe 2 to 3 days before the majority of the people arrive at the household.
I just know that I rest better knowing that they're here in your care. Like I said, we have a lot of kids that come over, and sometimes people will bring over their pets, and it just becomes way too much. What about, let's go back to kittens. I've always heard that certain plants are detrimental, and especially at the holidays, poinsettias perhaps.
Yes, poinsettias are, but more important, I'd say, things like holly, mistletoe. Some people get lilies. Those can create more issues for pets. The other thing is, again, coming back
to
digestive, yes. But then let's say coming back to a tree, if you get a non-artificial one, sometimes the sap from the tree can cause issues, especially with kittens. They'll go underneath the tree and maybe they'll get some sap onto their fur, and it'll get clumped up, and that can cause issues. The other thing is, again, with non-artificial, natural trees, if you put water in that bowl, they can go and drink it, and then there could be little pine needles in there that then they can ingest and cause.
Forgive me, I put the tree up last night, and my cat June was watching me very closely, so I'm running through all the potential scenarios in my head right now.
Yeah, so again, little things that we may not consider as creating issues. As I said, with the water and the pine needles, yes. Or the other thing is, again, with the power cords, with the lights. If possible, again, try to place them far back within the tree so that, a kitten or a cat can't pull the cord out, from relating to the lights. So things like that, basically.
And finally, I mentioned to you that perhaps maybe giving a puppy as a gift is not the best idea. Caution our listeners about something that seems, like a nice gift, but in the end, this is a life you're bringing into your house.
Correct. I mean, the good thing, John, is I think a lot of people have become more educated about that. They know that a puppy or even a kitten, it's a long-term responsibility and just not something for a few months. So the good news there is things have changed. But of course, again, it's a long-term responsibility. So getting a puppy or kitten just for Christmas, it's not a good idea. But I'm happy to say that it's changed. People are more aware of that.
Always spay and neuter?
It depends. Some people say yes, some people say no. I mean, in terms of health issues, again, it's changed. It used to be that everybody said spay and neuter your pets. I think it's a more responsible thing to do. But again, the views have changed. Let me put it that way.
And what about this canine? I gave my dogs the influenza vaccine.
The influenza vaccine. Yes, we had an outbreak. But I think because people did vaccinate, and they vaccinated early as soon as they heard that the influenza outbreak had come to our area. The good news there is I haven't seen or heard of many new cases, so I think we caught it early. And I think that's due to responsible veterinarians and responsible pet owners.
One last time, if you want to give a treat to your pet, they don't know the difference, give them their normal treat. You're not doing them any favors feeding them off the table on Thanksgiving or through the Christmas holiday.
Correct. I mean, maybe if you want, you can give them a little bit more of their normal treats, but I would suggest stick to what they're used to. Anything new, just because it is Thanksgiving or Christmas, can create issues. Other things to be careful of is things like grapes, raisins, and I know Christmas time especially, chocolate.
Why is that? I mean, I know that. A lot of people know that, but I don't think they know why. Is it the caffeine in the chocolate?
It's that dogs and cats can't break down chocolate like we can. So it can cause issues with the kidneys, and it can cause issues with the liver, especially what they call baker's chocolate or dark chocolate. So again, with cakes or cookies, those are the things to be careful of. And the other thing is wrapping paper. Again, little things we don't think of in terms of opening our presents up. And then the wrapping paper is all over. And before you know it...
Dr. Sam, you know my pets. I mean, what they will consume and eat, it boggles the mind.
It does, and that's what I'm saying is that we wouldn't consider, the wrapping paper could create an issue, or the ribbons that are tied up, the presents are tied up with.
Or a baby's onesie.
Or a baby's onesie, as you well know, John, as you well know. So yes, those are things just to be aware of. Okay, there's a website that might be helpful, just in case. It's www.petpoisonhelpline.com. Now, the other thing is a question that a lot of people ask me at this time in the year is, what if my pet does consume something which I want them to throw it up? What can I use? And the best thing, the safest thing to use, obviously call your veterinarian first. But if you cannot reach your veterinarian, the best thing is hydrogen peroxide, 3% hydrogen peroxide, which you can get over the counter. And then even if you have something like a turkey baster, if you take a little bit of, not too much, just a little bit, and if you're looking at some type of measurement, so 1 teaspoon would equal 5 milliliters. So even if you go, and again, it depends on the size of the dog, but even if you go 3 teaspoons, let's say, and let your dog ingest that, it can take up to 15-20 minutes for them to throw up. But again, before doing anything, contact your veterinarian.
So inducing the vomiting, getting it out is a good start, and then get the dog to the vet.
Again, best thing to do is try and contact the veterinarian, because there's certain things you may not want them to throw up that can be caustic. Or let's say with a bauble, the rings on a bauble, once they've ingested that, you may not want them to throw that up because it can get lodged in the throat. So call your veterinarian first. And the Pet Poison Helpline.
Give that again.
Pet antipoisonhelpline.com.
Hopefully you won't need it, but keep it in your back pocket just in case you do. Dr. Sam, happy holidays.
Happy holidays to all your listeners.